This one is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Vegan Proteins YouTube channel. This is Giacomo. I'm a coach over here, also a champion powerlifter and bodybuilder. And today I'm going to give you my takes on your unpopular opinions. But before I go there, check this out right in the description below. This is something you should totally consider signing up for because it's free and it is literally the best workshop that we run all year long. It's coming up on January 8th at 6 p.m. Eastern, and you don't want to miss it. There's limited spots. It's a goal setting workshop. We teach you how to set goals. We encourage you to set goals, and then we show you how to accomplish those goals over time. Definitely consider signing up for our goal setting workshop. Okay, let's get to our unpopular opinions. I got my IG pulled up over here, and I got all of your unpopular opinions. I'm going to go through them one at a time and tell you what I think, whether I agree with you, disagree with you, and my thoughts about the unpopular opinion itself. First one, you can't outtrain a bad diet. And this person said that they know people with great physiques that eat garbage. So, my thoughts. I agree with you, friend. I think that it is 110% possible to have a great physique with a diet that is garbage. That said, imagine if that person's diet wasn't garbage, how much better their physique would look. The other issues that I have with outtraining a bad diet is no matter how disciplined of a person you are, no matter how much willpower you have, if your diet is crappy, eventually your body might fail you. Like you're gonna just wind up being unhealthy. And anyone who wants to be really competitive, it truly is a marathon, not a sprint. No matter how much of a genetic outlier you are, or no matter how long you've been doing this for and how accomplished you are, yes, you can train really, really hard and you can have a great physique, but imagine how good of a physique you could have and imagine yourself being in the best position possible to be as healthy as possible long-term by eating a good diet. So there are all kinds of things that I think about when it comes to a bad diet. It's not just your health and possibly getting taken out of the game. It's also your eating habits and stuff like that. When you have a bad diet, chances are you can be like, what do we say, an IIFYMer. If it fits your macros, do it. But put it this way, you're less likely to stick to your macro targets long-term. You're less likely to stick to your calorie targets long-term. You're less likely to get in your protein long-term. You're less likely to feel in control of your eating habits long-term if you're constantly eating a crappy diet. So there's that, and also the fact that like your health can kind of take a hit even though your physique looks good. So regardless of how good it looks and how fortunate you are that your physique looks good because there's calories in versus calories out in a lot of ways, think about the fact that a crappy diet can contribute to poor health in general, no matter how good you look. Those are my thoughts on that one. Next one, training with straps weakens you over time. Okay, I'm on both sides of the fence on this one. I am definitely a fan of training with straps. I think it serves a purpose, and I think you could train grip strength in other ways. So in some ways, if you're training with straps, first of all, you're not training with straps with every single exercise that you do. So you're still gonna be training your grip. The exercises that you do train with straps, where it's arguable, would be something like deadlifts, because deadlifts are really good at building grip strength. But if you wind up training with straps just to do the reps that you couldn't get in once the weight gets too heavy and your grip strength goes, well, you're getting in more reps and you're training the rest of your body. But it's debatable because forcing yourself to not train with straps when you do deadlifts, it really is good at building grip strength. But that being said, you can do other things like farmer's walks and putting fat grips on dumbbells to train with more of a grip on the dumbbells. So there are other things that you can do too, all kinds of grip exercise. You can get one of those grip squeezers, for example, to make up for the fact that you should, in my opinion, train with straps on certain exercises like rows and pulls, where you literally want to take your grip and your forearm and your bicep out of the exercise so that when you're doing those rows and those pulls, you're hitting your lats as much as is humanly possible. And other things that I could think about where you want to train with straps, maybe pull-ups for that very same reason, although pull-ups are pretty good at building grip strength. Again, you really want to focus mostly on your lats if you're looking to build your lats, and it isn't just about strength. And then stronger lats will make you stronger in other ways. So yeah, other things, well, think about if you're doing dumbbell walking lunges. Now you're trying to train one of the biggest muscles in your body, but you're training with straps because you need to, because the weights are too heavy on your hand and you're like focused on trying to like hold on to them, or you can hold on to them. And what a limiting factor that would be. So in some ways, training with straps actually makes you stronger over time, even though in some ways, if you don't train your grip outside of the exercise that you're using straps on, like separately, I could see how your grip strength could be weaker. But in general, you're stronger over time, in my opinion, when you train with straps on certain exercises. Those are my thoughts on that one. At a certain age, stretching becomes mandatory to maintain a healthy body. This depends. I hate that my answer is always it depends, and I can't just get like salty with it and be like, this one is ridiculous, I disagree. Or yes, this is ridiculous and I agree. But the answer usually is it depends. Stretching at a certain age being mandatory to build a healthy body. Well, this is my thoughts on that. It depends on the person. If you haven't been active for a long period of time, or you haven't been active earlier in life and you have not stretched routinely, I think at a certain age, because of what you've done with your body over time or not done with your body over time, in my opinion, it's pretty necessary to start stretching, because if you don't, you're going to deal with like shortened muscles and pain and aches, and you really want to stretch your body out so you could be able to take your muscles to a full range of motion. And you also are likely deconditioned and your posture is probably pretty crappy. And although strength training will help correct a lot of that, stretching is pretty damn important if you have not been an active person. Even if you have been an active person, at a certain age, your body gets pretty cranky. I don't think it's mandatory though. In any circumstances, unless you're like super deconditioned and your posture is really, 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 really messed up. And this is kind of like the bodybuilder me. I don't necessarily think it's mandatory. That being said, I'd strongly consider stretching, especially if you haven't been active for a very long period of time and you're creeping up into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and you decide to just start strength training. Strength training will fix your posture. Strength training will help with your mobility, believe it or not, even though your muscle lengths shorten, in some ways you will be limited by, and you will also need to stretch. But I don't necessarily think it's mandatory, I guess. 5 days a week of training is too much for most people. So here's the thing with that. If you're like 15 and you're 20 and you got no responsibilities whatsoever, and your body is so ready to be worked hard, and when you're younger like that, you can pretty much do anything you want. It's just a matter of time. As you get older though, it's not just a matter of time, it's also a matter of your stress levels and your responsibilities and how that feels. But you are in some ways just limited in terms of how you feel about your responsibilities and your stress. But then again, it's also about how much time you have available. So for most, I recommend 3 to 4 days of training. And then eventually you could work up to 5, but you don't really need 5 days of training. I do agree that 5 days a week, not that it's too much for most people, but that it's not necessary. You could do it, but it's not necessarily serving you. What matters more than anything is that you're consistent. And if you're eventually getting to a point where you're 2, 3, 4, 5 plus years into training consistently, and you feel like you want to just go full throttle and train 5-ish days a week, you certainly can. It's not necessarily too much. It might feel a little crappy if you're doing a lot in other ways. Maybe you're managing a family, you're parenting, maybe you have a high demanding job, maybe you have other hobbies or interests, maybe it's all of the above and then some. All these things, even when they don't take away your time, they create stress in your body. It's more than mental. And mindset can only go so far. This stuff creates actual stress in your body. So it does take a little bit of time to adapt to being able to train more than say like 3 days a week routinely and comfortably, believe it or not. As your responsibilities grow and you realize like adulting is actually a full-time job in and of itself, meaning all your responsibilities and then learning how to do them well without creating even more stress just to manage your stress. So in some ways, training will take away that stress, but in other ways, if you train too much, it will actually, in my opinion, not necessarily be a good thing. So there's my Here's my take on 5 days a week of training. No one cares how much you leg press. Oh, I'm gonna have fun with this one. I remember 15, 20 plus years ago when that was the thing. It was like, okay, who can put as many plates on the leg press station at once? And then, by the way, call your buddies. Oh, look, I can do all the plates on the bottom and the top, and you can sit on top of it and I can still do it. Oh, and let's get another person on top of it. It's a sight. It's fun. It's like one of those things like bragging rights. It's one of those stations. It's one of the stations in the gym where you can load more plates on it than any other station. So it's one of those things that really, it looks cool and it's sort of gives you bragging rights in essence. But in my opinion, people that do that, at least 50% of people that do that, probably more, they wind up doing it just to do it, and they're just moving weight. So what was once 100% range of motion becomes 70% range of motion, becomes 30% range of motion, and you've seen people do this. What are you really doing? Like, move your body and go focus on doing other things. No one cares how much you leg press. You're just putting on a show, or you're putting on a show for yourself. Either which way, that's dumb. It takes more effort to take the weights on and take them off than the leg press itself. You're getting a better workout doing other things. I don't know. That's what I think. I don't think it matters at all. I think it makes much more sense to do some quality reps with a lot less weight on leg press than trying to talk about how much you're doing or make a big spectacle of yourself because you want to. Cardio doesn't kill gains. Okay. First of all, cardio helps with gains. We don't want to do it. Well, put it this way. If it's between strength training and cardio, and you're not strength training enough, if you're not training for 4 days a week, for 45 minutes a week, but you're getting in 3 days a week of 45 minutes of cardio, then I'm going to be like, yeah, that's kind of dumb. Your cardio is killing your gains. Focus on your gains. But if you're getting in 3, upwards of maybe even 4 45-minute sessions on the gym floor, cardio is next. And not only will cardio not kill your gains, it will give you better cardiovascular endurance, which will help you, even as a powerlifter, it will help you have more conditioning for like a single, double, or triple instead of 1, 2, or 3. It's been shown if you're getting in 30-ish minutes of cardio a week, maybe even like 35, 40, 45 minutes of cardio a week, as a powerlifter, it's been shown that it will make it so that your singles, doubles, and triples actually improve because you're able to get more oxygen going. Your cardiovascular health is better. It's not even necessarily about like cardiovascular endurance, how fast you can run or how long you can run, for example. Yeah, cardio will help that, but it will also help you for power, and then obviously help you for strength and for hypertrophy, for different kinds of rep ranges. It actually helps your gains. But it will hurt your gains if you're favoring the cardio over the strength training. So strength training first, cardio second, and it's better for your heart health and like for you to just be healthier in general because your resting heart rate will be lower if you're doing cardio. Too much of a good thing is not necessarily a good thing though. So I'm thinking if you're doing more than like 90 minutes a week, that's where I think you start to cross the line and maybe it will take away from your gains. But it's one of those things where if 2 hours of cardio a week makes you happy and you're already strength training 4 days a week on top of that, and you pull like 90 minutes of that cardio away because you're afraid it's gonna kill your gains, but maybe you get like 10% more gains that weren't left on the table, but you're miserable, like, come on, do the 2 hours of cardio. You're really gonna sacrifice your happiness to get 10% more gains? Well, some people will do that, but it depends on you. So 10% less gains, but maximum happiness because you're doing 2 hours of cardio instead of 30 to 45 minutes of cardio a week. If you're struggling to lose weight but don't track food, please shut up. I have a little bit of beef with this statement because while I do think that without tracking in any way, shape, or form, you will not get results, everybody's process is different. I don't agree with the idea that you can just forget about tracking altogether and reach your goals. I think at some point in time, everyone needs to track in some way, shape, or form. And I do think that you need to learn what's on your plate by weighing it, by understanding how to break it down in terms of macros. And when I say weighing, I just mean like being aware of the portions, whether it's a half a cup of this, 60 grams of that, whatever. It teaches you the breakdowns of different kinds of foods so you can make those choices without thinking about any of that whatsoever. You have to track in some way, shape, or form to get results. You have to be aware of how you're eating. And typically, doing it in some sort of calculated way, like this is my meal plan, I'm gonna follow it every day for the next month to what I need. Or these are my macros, I'm gonna follow it every day for the next month. This is what I need. But these things are not easy to do for everyone, and they're not possible 100% of the time, month after month, year after year. It's important to take breaks from this stuff and also test your ability to eat how much you want to eat and how much you should eat for your goals without doing this stuff. And again, this is hard for some people. So while I get the idea of like stop whining and do the thing, like a little bit of tough love, I also think it's important to know that this is a little bit of a gray area in terms of what you're capable of, how to get there, and depending on what you're doing and how long you've been doing it for. Body part splits are ineffective. Stick to full body routines. Full body routines are really cool, but so are body part splits. When I think body part splits, I think of the old school approach before we got smarter with the way that we trained and what's considered training properly for maximum gains. Body part splits remind me of like, I'm going to train this body part on this day, that body part on that day, and I'm going to break it up. I'm going to do an upper lower split, and I'm going to train these body parts separately on this day and these body parts separately on that day. That's cool, and I could understand why someone might think that was ineffective and maybe compare it to a full body routine. Well, full body routines, let's talk about the benefits of those. You get to train all of your body parts multiple times a week. You get really good at training your body parts multiple times a week, and you get really good at teaching your body to move from head to toe every single day, multiple days a week. That's great. But eventually, you're going to want to get more specific. Eventually, you're going to want to learn how to train different body parts with varying degrees of intensity. And in order to do that, you got to start to break things up. And body part splits are a great way to do that. They are limiting in the sense that, like, say I wanted to train, not necessarily full body, but I wanted to train my shoulders 3 times a week out of the 4 days a week of training. I wanted to train my legs 3 days a week out of the 4 days of training. A body part split's not going to work for someone that wants to train their legs 3 days a week and train their shoulders 3 days a week. You're going to have to start to mix things up. Not necessarily train full body 4 days a week in this example, but you're going to have to start to mix things up a little bit. And that's where it's not necessarily a body part split. The body part split is limiting, but it's not necessarily a full body routine either. Body part splits, in my opinion, are a way to graduate from training full body to isolating body parts and starting to train them harder multiple times a week. So I think you could do even better than body part splits, but they're certainly not ineffective and they serve a purpose. Last one. I hate people and this cheat meal BS. Train hard with proper nutrition. That's all you need. Dude, I agree with you. Train hard with proper nutrition. Simple as that. The cheat meal stuff, I don't like it. That being said, I like the idea of giving yourself a break from tracking, and I like the idea of purposely not trying to eat perfectly with the best nutrition plan possible and the calories that you want to eat. I think it's important to take a little bit of a break and feel a little bit more balanced and a little bit less, how do I say, structured and goal-oriented and process-oriented. I think there's a means to an end, and that's, I don't want to say that's disordered, but that's hard to maintain, and it could feel a bit isolating, and it could be a little bit restrictive. So I think taking a break from that is good. But cheat meals, when I hear the words cheat meal, those two words together tell me that this person is going to just forget that they're on any plan whatsoever, forget that they have any goals whatsoever, and eat as much as they want and eat whatever they want. It'd be like a point of pride if you ate a cheat meal that was a large bowl of vegetables and a large bowl of fruits. Most people wouldn't consider it a cheat meal. They'd be like, okay, I'm gonna have a pizza to the dome myself, and then I'm gonna go have an ice cream sundae, and earlier in the day, I'm gonna have a big breakfast. And maybe it's a little bit later in the day, I'm gonna eat just snack, you know? It's cheap. This was what I wanted. That's where things can get a little hairy, a little dicey, because when you do that, you can wind up slipping into that becoming a habitual thing. You've triggered your reward sensors, and you've gorged yourself, and also you're telling yourself this is what you're supposed to be doing. Chances are that can happen again. You're not learning how to eat mindfully. You're forgetting about your goals. You're telling yourself it's okay to eat as much as you want on purpose. Like, that's part of your plan. Like, no, cheat meals are ridiculous. No, it'd be one thing if you were like, I'm gonna overindulge today, and I probably don't want to, but like, F it. But like, to actually encourage yourself to do this and make it a good thing, I think that's stupid. I think it's really stupid. That's my opinion. So, hopefully you liked this video and my take on your unpopular opinions. Send more our way. Let me hear what you think about these unpopular opinions in the comments. Get salty with me. Tell me I'm stupid and wrong. Give me your thoughts. And don't forget in that description to check out that goal workshop. It's coming up. It's just around the corner, January 8th, 6 p.m. Eastern. Danny's running it. It literally is our best workshop of the year, hands down. You set goals, you learn how to create a path to accomplish those goals, and you get to do that in a really supportive environment, and it's a lot of fun, and it's a really good workshop where you get to learn a lot. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and we'll catch you in the next video.